being joined now by the PGF and EBI absolute champ. It is Ryan Aitken, and he is going to be representing, of course, 10th Planet at CJI 2. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm good. Let me just zoom this out a tad.
Perfect. Now we got the perfect angle of Ryan Aitken, who is going to be taking on some of the best in this Quintet times CJI hybrid format. And you are no stranger to team events. But when it comes to the rule set for CJI and having this Quintet style effect with it, what do you think is going to be the biggest key to victory for 10th Planet?
Well, I mean, one thing Sean's always said is just take one fight at a time. So like I don't really think about like the next fight after that. I'm really just focused on getting that first one, winning that, whatever it takes. I hope all my teammates have the same attitude. I'm sure they will because Sean's going to be there. And I mean, we got a tough team, a lot of guys with like high submission rates. And like, you know, we not only does PJ Barch have a high submission rate, he's also got a great wrestling. So I'm, you know, great counters and everything. So PJ Barch is going to hold 88 down pretty good. You know, I think everyone's going to do great.
And we have Martinez in there as well. I know you guys aren't all at the same 10th Planet. So what is it like for you guys trying to build that team element in the lead up to CJI 2?
We've all kind of pursued the same circuit of the EBI circuit, and I think that's a strength that we have, is again that like raises our chances of submitting our opponent, and it's harder to submit us, even though like we're not at the same gym. You know, we all kind of have a style that puts submission forward. So that I feel like that's definitely our advantage, and yeah, it's gonna be tough to try to catch any of us. So everyone's gonna have to be trying to like play on the outside and trying to like just scrape by with some points and using wrestling and stuff like that. So in like PJ's gym, which I'm planning on going and training at in July, they've already got the wall. We're gonna try to build one over here. So you know, we're not trying to have any like disadvantages when we go in there for sure.
You guys aren't going to try to build a wall. You're going to build that wall. I feel like you guys got it down, no?
PJ's gym has the wall. We're looking at getting one over the next couple of weeks, I'm sure. So
that's definitely going to play a pretty big part, especially if there's been no experience with it beforehand. I know PJ has had that wall built out for quite a bit, so that's going to be great that you can get reps there. And then Gio is just in Oceanside, so he'll probably be able to come. And I think Kyle Baim is in San Diego for the most part.
Yeah, Kyle Baim trains down there. I know he trains all over the place, you know, primarily I think he's at Freaks. I know he also trains with like PJ, he also trains at Legion, you know, like he drops in everywhere. He's always getting good high level training with, you know, big names out there. San Diego's just such a hot spot. So several of our guys are down there all the time, so I'm sure they're going to be game.
And it was awesome to see the success that you had at PGF. And I remember Eddie Bravo was there, and now he is going to be the head coach for the CJI 2 team. Tell me about your relationship with you and Eddie.
Eddie's cool. He's funny. He was there at the PGF, you know. Like I remember there was some talk about like Eddie being my coach there and reffing and stuff, and that's not the case. Like, you know, Eddie's more cheers me on, you know, if anything. He's not my coach. He's not really giving me a lot of pointers over there, you know. Eddie likes to yell squeeze and a couple other things like pressure and stuff like that. But like when it comes to building strategy and stuff, Sean's who builds my strategy. Eddie's just a great guy to support over there and stuff like that. But yeah, me and Eddie always get on, man. Like we were talking a lot when we were at the PGF. You know, I'm not necessarily like Eddie's student, but you know, he's always been there to support at like a lot of these big events and stuff. You know, he was there at ADCC, he was there at Subversive, and then he was there at PGF as well. So you know, he's always around.
Do you think that leading into CJI 2, there are going to be people that you defeated at PGF that are looking at you with vengeance on their mind?
There's guys that I haven't fought in under 99, you know, like Luke Griffith, Nicky Rod. I believe Nicky Rod's doing under 99. And then there's, I can't think of his name right now, the guy from Europe team, which is under 99. Like there's a lot of guys under 99 that I've never had matches with before. So that's going to be exciting. If I was to do 88, then I believe I would be on trajectory to have another match with Chris Wosick, maybe Paul and stuff like that. But they're doing 88.
It's random. Like you're going to potentially match up against them.
Okay, my bad. So yeah, okay, there's a possibility that I could fight those guys. I keep getting mixed up. I didn't know if it was like quintet rules or if it's like dual rules. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not dual rules, and it's even spicier because it's quintet. You're not going to know who's going to come out next. So let's just say you submit someone in your division. The next person that could come out, you won't have any idea until they're making the walk.
Okay, cool. Well, that sounds fun. I could fight somebody that's an ultra heavyweight. I could fight someone that's super low. I could fight somebody that I've had a match with at PGF before now, I guess. So like that or I didn't have a match with, like what's his name? Marcin, Paul, Chris Wosick. I don't know. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, you know?
And I remember when the finale of PGF was happening, I put on my Instagram story, who's your pick, Ryan Aitken or Chris Wosick? And most of the votes went to you. One of the votes was from Chris Wosick himself. So he's a fan of yours, but he could potentially be seeing you again. What did you think about the final that you had with him?
Chris is my buddy, man. Like, we're always looking out for each other out there. It's bittersweet to have another tough match against them in the finals, but it's also something that totally makes sense from a story perspective, because we've always been on a collision course. We're always every tournament, he does so well, and now he's looking for these top side entries into his leg locks, and by being on top, it allows him like extra room to do these rotating foot locks that he likes to do. So he can really get a catastrophic break on those. So it's been interesting to watch him kind of figure that out.
And when it comes to predictions, I know a lot of people are maybe looking at Atos or New Wave as a favorite, even though New Wave hasn't even announced who is on their roster yet. Do you feel like 10th Planet sometimes gets overlooked?
We got a pretty good shot. We've got several good standout guys, like someone that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about much is Alan Sanchez, and dude, he's like 4 years younger than me, so I don't even think he's like peaked yet. So I think 10th Planet has a very bright future. And something too that I've noticed that I thought was pretty cool was like we seem to have like this power of 10. I don't know if there's any 10s, like it's not like a 10th anniversary at the CJI, or it's not going to be the 10th day, I believe, or something. But I've definitely noticed that there's this power of 10 with 10th Planet. Like the 10th EBI Geo won, and then the 10th anniversary I won. So there seems to be like this 10 thing going on. And if like the number 10 pops up, I don't know, it could be game over for everybody else.
Definitely divine timing. And I feel like a lot of the energy that 10th Planet cultivates sometimes shows out in the best moments. And we've seen it even in the quintet formats as well. And 10th Planet was one of the first teams to lock in their team, even before some other announcements were made, like the wild card aspect. Two-part question. When the announcement was officially broken out, a lot of people were saying, oh, well, why isn't Keith Krikorian in? And I think a lot of people think Gio is deserving of that spot. So what was your takeaway from someone that was just watching all of the talk go down and how that decision was made?
Gio's always game to compete at the highest level. I think as long as he is, and as long as he's training consistently, I mean, he fought hard at Aiga too, then he deserves the shot, and then Keith, being a little bit younger, obviously, like, he maybe Gio takes priority, with some of these, but Keith is game too. Keith has a great wrestling background. They're very different styles. So I think as far as like CJI, like I said, the style is somewhere in the middle for like between like EBI and ADCC. So I think with all that in mind, Gio But dude, Keith any day too would be a great choice as well.
A big emphasis for Craig is making jiu-jitsu entertaining. And I think that's why they're implementing this Royal Rumble aspect so that the audience can be a little bit more engaged. But from an athlete perspective, what would you say is the most important thing when trying to keep things entertaining?
There's a fine line of incorporating your emotions when you compete. Like the people that get the most emotional, that's going to be the most fun to watch. The people behind that might be like people that got hustle, like that when we're down to the wire, and that person with all the heart and the grit and the hustle. And that's usually been my thing, as I'm getting older. I don't know. I'm trying to retain that, but I felt like, my heart won me a lot of fights when I was in my 20s. I want to start relying on like emotes, like when you play games, you can like make your character do an emote. It's a form of communicating to like your opponent or to the crowd and stuff, like theater without like actually like saying something, or without you're sending a point, like a message, a very visual message, so like I don't know, I want to like start incorporating emotes, like doing the One Piece thing, the sumo squat, that's an emote that. For example, if I could incorporate other emotes, maybe like mid-match,
you
like
can learn how to do a backflip off of the pit.
Yeah, let's not get injured doing that. I don't know. That's something I'm kind of like thinking of incorporating, because obviously the crowd can't hear you. So like if you're talking shit, they're not going to hear that.
I think there's a lot of ways to get creative. I'm excited to see how 10 Planet does it. And I thought your guys' logo for your guys' gear was so cool. So we cannot wait to see all the action going down August 30th and 31st. And see you there, Ryan. Keep executing those rear naked chokes, because we know that at one point you were like, I can't finish them. And now you're finishing them.
Oh, I'm getting way better. Yeah.